Hello, my loves. The energy of October is so intense I almost can't even bring it through. And this happens periodically, not very often, but periodically. And I typically try to write the soul message before I record so that I have all of my notes and I have my things to focus on for the month and all of that. I have been trying to pull this message down for like 3 to 4 days, and it's one of those things where it's so intense. It has double-sided energy to it. And you can even hear my cat whining. It's like that kind of energy. There's this, there's chafing to it, and there's also really deeply expansive energy. It is taking us, it's both deep, 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 deep down into the body. And it's also very high energetic, esoteric, spiritual information. It's like we're being pulled in both directions. The deeper you go, the higher you go. The higher you go, the deeper you can go. You know, it's in the way of spiritual practice and, you know, the difficulties that you have, the further down into the underworld you go to unearth your own stuff. It's like a pendulum swing that allows you to go higher up into the spiritual realms as well, and vice versa. So it has that kind of energy, but I'm telling you what, like, it's so intense I almost can't even bring it down. And so I'm like, enough. I have no patience for sitting in front of the computer and pulling it. None of it. I cannot do it. I have to just like organically pull it through and just let it be what it is, because it's so intense. It's like physically uncomfortable. Okay. So with all of that said, the title of this month is Strengthened Being. And the reason for that is because we're strengthening our energetic and physical container. We're strengthening our spiritual container. But this is the image that I was shown, and then hopefully that will help. We're going to go in to out. Okay, the image that I was shown is the toroidal field, or the torus field, that exists around the body. It emanates from the heart, and it goes out like from the crown up, out like a waterfall, down around, comes back up our feet, goes this way. I believe it goes the other way as well. And really, seriously, can you cool it? I mean, it's so earthy. It's just like, this is where we are. This is it. Like, I'm not even going to edit it out, because this is it. This is it right here. It's like, hi, you need right now. Are you going to start biting me now? This is it. It's just so intense. Okay. Toroidal field, torus field around the body. Okay. It strengthens. Like, there's so much about it I don't even understand. And I've been studying energy medicine and all of this for 15 years. Like, it's bananas. And it's come across my field in all the different studies that I've done. And also what's absolutely crazy, and this is the energy that we're in right now, it's science. It's like as basic as it could be around the body, that this happens all the time, that this is happening. This is part of our makeup, but nobody knows about it. Unless you've studied the stuff that I have studied, unless you're in energy medicine, unless you're in, you know, acupuncture or naturopathic medicine, or you're looking at these alternate things, this isn't in science books. It's not studied. We don't learn about it in school. It's absolutely ridiculous that something this basic is underneath the surface of our awareness and we don't even understand it. And if we did, we could understand how to work with our bodies better and the whole thing. But that's the energy of it too. It's like, this month, it's like there's this buried wisdom that's not even very far underneath the surface. It's right there, but it's just on the other side of our awareness, because it's not talked about in the public field. So people are like, I don't even know what even is that. So I encourage you to go look up an image of it. There's a torus field around the earth. There's one around bodies. I'm assuming plants. I haven't looked into that. Animals, everything. This is like the energetic flow. This is what happens. And it emanates from the heart. It's our unique energetic signature, our heartbeat, and then it goes out. It carries, our physical body, it carries all of the wisdom and the knowledge of who we are and where we go. And when we're next to people, our fields overlap and we're sharing information, even if we're not talking. And so all of this is here for us, but it's outside of our awareness. And so what I was shown this month about the Taurus field and why I was shown this is not only to drop the information here so people start thinking about themselves as energetic containers. And remember, I've said it 100 times, we are 99.99999% energy, and we are only 0.00001% matter. And so when you start realizing that, you realize that almost the whole of who you are is energetic. And it starts shifting your thinking and your awareness and all of that. And this is what I'm saying about this energy that is so hard to pull down. It is so deeply esoteric that it almost puts me to sleep, because there's so much information coming in that it's like we have to just sleep in order to get the downloads, because it's too much almost for language. And it's also bringing us into the physical body, so much so it's kind of this pendulum swing of like, in order to get all the information, you have to sleep and get really good rest so that you can be down into the body. And it's this beautiful symbiotic relationship with the body. We also need to be in movement, in action, in flow in our physical body with exercise, with, mineralizing the soil of our bodies and our guts. And what was I going to say? It's like the esoteric and the physical. So there's the sleeping aspect of it, and then there's the movement exercise part of it. And then it also has this impatience energy that is kind of like senioritis. Like there's so much information coming in that it's like when you've overstudied and your brain is just completely full and you can't even take in any more information. And so you have to sleep or go exercise or go do something to burn the steam off of all of the energy that's coming through. So it is just nuts. The part of the Taurus field, this is the other piece that's important. The part of the field that I was shown to focus on is the outside edges of the Taurus field. And there's like this friction of the energy moving in both directions. And what's important about that, and why the title of it was Strengthened Being, is because the friction here, what we're being called to look at with this, is better boundaries. And it's not the kind of boundaries that we think of. It can be both, but it's not only the kind of boundaries that we think of like, oh, we have to put up a wall, we have to put up a shield, we have to draw boundaries, we have to say no to this. It is also, and maybe even more importantly, that the boundaries emanate from our heart based on who we are, what we want, what we care about, what we have compassion for. It's all this feeling that's here. And then that goes out and creates our field. And the stronger this pulse is of who we are, what we know, being connected and in tune with our unique energetic signature, that is the boundary. It's like being in connection with your unique rhythmic energetic heartbeat is the thing that makes the field strong. So it in and of itself creates the boundaries. So there's a little bit of like a both and, where the boundaries are being strengthened, but you don't have to look there. Information is coming in droves, but you don't have to think about it with your logical mind. In fact, you'll lose your mind trying to do that. Like that's what this impatience, irritation, friction energy is here that I'm feeling. It makes it so challenging to bring this down because it's so much of a both and. It's being in the body and out of the body. It's all this information coming in, but you cannot intellectualize it. Like you literally cannot intellectualize it. You have to feel it in your body, and you have to just let it drop down, almost to the point that, like I said, I'm not even going to do a message at all, because I just can't even do this. It's like everyone's just going to have to feel into it themselves and almost be like hammered down with it, and just let it do whatever it does to your body. But my advice, because of what I'm feeling, is do not try to intellectualize anything right now. Do not try to understand it with your mind. Nothing. Just let it happen. Almost like give your mind a friggin' vacation and just go stare out the window and be in your body, take a bath, like be in the physical of things, take a bath, be naked. Like it has a sensual feeling to it. Like, like touching, looking at trees, like touching the leaves, trying to, there's no trying though either. It's like, it's literally almost the most bizarre energy that I've ever felt. But it's the vastness. It's the vastness of the Taurus field. And the fact that we know nothing about it is what is going to like slap us in the face with this. This is why it's so like, it has this kind of startling energy to it. And then the other piece is at the top of the month, we're in Libran energy, which is all about balancing, right? So that's the other thing. Like there's this balancing energy. And another visual that I got was, imagine a bike wheel or a tire that's caked and covered in mud. That is us with all of this dense, heavy energy that has collected because we don't know how to move properly. We don't know how this thing functions. Even though it's always functioning on its own, there's also emotional and physical resistance and traumas and all this stuff that we have in here that keeps the flow from moving properly. And so it's sort of like a wheel that has been caked with mud and that has been sitting, a car that's been abandoned for a long time, and all of a sudden it's moving and it's going to start to go, and it's spinning so fast that the mud is just going to fling off. That's all the stuff that's been stuck and stagnant and out of our awareness. So it's kind of like we don't even know how fast we could move. We don't even know what our potential is. Our own limitless ability, because we've been stuck and that's all going to start to move. Okay, so let me see. And it's like almost like there's this fire to it that is so intense that it almost feels like anger, but it's just like frustration at, just how insane my energy is. Like the way that I'm speaking, it sounds like I'm angry and frustrated, but I'm literally speaking, channeling in the energy of the thing. Okay, so boundaries, tension at the edge of the field. I already talked about that. And being who you are is the boundary. Being who you are is the field. The brighter and more in touch with what you want, what you love, what your passion is, what your desire is, the vision that you have for the world that comes from your heart, the stronger your field is, the more information, the faster that wheel is going to go and fling off all the mud. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is also better habits. Like this is very Libran also, but it's like we're learning to have better habits. There's a way that our intuition is being activated by just paying attention to your life. What does your body want? What are you hungry for? The physical things of the body, because those are telling you where you should be. It's kind of like if you think about like higher, faster vibrating energy in the upper chakras, that's more to do with intuition. That's getting stronger by being in the lower chakras that is denser, it's rigider. It's like that's why this fire energy is here, because it's like you have to push through it. It's like the tension before an orgasm. It's that kind of energy, or like the tension when you're lifting weights and you have to like use all your physical might. But going into the body is so important. This is why diet, exercise, all of those things are so important. But going into the physical body and really learning, this is why it's so intense, because it's upper and lower chakras at the same time. By listening to the physical body and giving it what it wants, paying attention to what it wants, you are strengthening your intuition. You're strengthening your whole field. You're strengthening your boundaries. I mean, there's so much to this. It's insane. And then we're also flushing out what doesn't work. So I've talked about this the last couple of months, but there's this oscillating energy that's happening where it's like the wheel's going to start moving faster, but then also it's clearing out all the junk that was in there. So there's that both and energy also. And I'm just telling you, it feels like friction. Let the body tell you what it needs. Listen to it, follow it. Sleep is super important right now too, because like I said, the energy that's coming in, it's so massive that we can't take it all in. It's like you've got to take it in little baby chunks and just go a little bit, and then I have to sleep a little bit, and then I have to sleep a little bit, and then I have to go exercise, and then I have to go do something else, and whatever. I'm going to pull a card, and Lord help me, let's get a card that is going to help. The other thing is, so I didn't even write down things to focus on, so let me just do it right now. Sleep, movement is of the utmost importance, because we are flushing out the lymph system. We're flushing out all the old stagnant energy. So sleep and movement and listening to the body. I'm writing it down so I can take it back to the blog. Listening to the body, because this is the way that like the upper and lower chakras, as I'm seeing, are coming in better tune with each other. There's this way that we've been living in all the upper chakras because it's so much easier. And or maybe you're someone that lives in the lower chakras and you don't go into the spiritual stuff at all. And all of that is getting balanced now, and we're getting well, I'm not going to read all three of those cards. Well, maybe I am. Who knows? We'll see. I think that the baseline underlying message that we're receiving, if I'm trying to pull one thing down, is that we are way, way more powerful than we've been taught that we are. Way more powerful. There's so much with the mind-body connection. Okay, thank God it just pulled out. Silver. No idea. I've never gotten this card before. So it's one of the 22 materials. So let's see what it has to say. Okay. I don't even know what I was saying. It's the both and. It's the intuition and the physical body, and we have to learn to balance the two things. That's what's happening. So if you're somebody that's physical, you don't look at any of the spiritual, look alive because it's coming for you. If you only live in the spiritual, but you don't live in the physical, like you got to get into the body. But I would say everyone needs to get into the body, and I'll talk about the oil in a moment because that is going to seriously, seriously support us. I mean, that came almost before any of this other stuff came. All right, so silver, this is what it looks like. Lunar reflective chrome. Amidst its upper echelon status, silver shines eternally in second position. It is the lesser sibling, the one that's not quite there yet. Well, that's kind of all of us. We're not quite there yet. A true alchemist does not resist this truth, but rather studies its subtle implications and its wisdom. Okay, this is exactly what I'm talking about. The alchemist does not resist this truth, but rather studies its subtle implications and its wisdom. So there's study, there's wisdom, there's subtlety happening here. And then there's also deep truth. And so you kind of almost have to just let it wash over you. It's the way, like, if you're learning something, sometimes you have to just let it wash over you before you try to take notes because it's so big. Silver requires polishing or the surface tarnishes over time. So we're all being polished. That's what this is, the Taurus field. And go just look it up and print it out or put it on your desktop calendar, you know, your desktop screen or whatever it is, so that you can see it often and just kind of give yourself the esoteric downloads of just looking at it, and it feels like the wisdom is going to come through, you know, by osmosis. Mirrors require cleaning or the image clouds and distorts. Okay, I'm going to pause because this is part of it also. We do not realize how much we dirty and tarnish our energetic beings and our fields with all of the psychic information that we are constantly in communion with, but we're not aware of the fact that we're having psychic conversations, relationships, or anything. And when I'm talking about this specifically, I'm talking about social media, news, music, the vibration of what you're around. What are you listening to? What are you reading? What are you, when you're scrolling through your Instagram feed, that's what you're feeding yourself. That's why it's called that. I mean, you can't make this shit up. It's like, it's just literally what you're feeding yourself, what music you're listening to, what news you're listening to. And there's something so important, not just of the quality of that, but also of the quantity of it. And are you giving yourself space between things so that you're not just constant input? That's what we do to ourselves. It's like, oh my God, I can't sit still. I can't meditate. I have to constantly be doing something else. If you're doing the dishes, you can't just be doing the dishes. You have to be listening to music too. You have to be listening to a podcast. There's this way that we're constantly feeding ourselves with stuff and we don't realize. And our cups runneth over and, you know, our fields get super cloudy and dusty and dirty and they got to be cleared out. With space and nature and air and calm and presence and grounding, put your feet on the earth, like all these things. Okay, mirrors require cleaning or the image clouds and distorts, whereas gold sustains its own malleable radiance. Silver asks for our participation. Oh my God, this is so amazing. So what I'm seeing right here is gold. It's almost like the Taurus field is the gold. It's always happening. You know, your heart's always beating. Your lungs are always being breathed. These systems are on automatic pilot and they're also doing that. And also our participation in what they're doing helps, right? Like our body's going to keep going, but at a certain point, it's going to fall down if we don't rest. Our body's not going to be fine-tuned and well taken care of if we don't eat well, if we don't exercise. So there's this balance, and that's what it feels like this silver card is showing us. Like gold is the Taurus field, the auric field, the energetic body, the physical body that's constantly working for us. But the silver is our participation in it, and that's the mind-body connection. The body's always doing the thing, but if the mind is always busy on something else and not paying attention, we're not receiving the messages. Or, you know, I always talk about too, like the body is the final alarm system that we have. And when something has shown up in the body, it's been in the energetic field for a very long time. And the body is finally like the last alarm system that is like, look alive, you can't wait anymore. You have to clear this shit out of your field to bring your body back into right relationship. All right, back to the card. Gold sustains its own malleable radiance. Silver asks for our participation. We must work at it. So this is the other piece about this, is there's a level of, thank God I just sat down and did this, because it's the level of discipline. There's like, you know, you can't just have a six-pack without working out on it. And nobody wants to like sit down and do abs, but you don't get the thing that you want without doing the work. And so, you know, I have this feeling right now as I'm bringing this through of relief, even just by the fact that I sat down and just like, okay, I don't know where we're going with this, but I'm just going to sit down and do it. So it has that quality too. Like, you might not even know what the end goal is, but you know that you have to do the thing, and then you'll learn whatever it is as you're in the midst of doing it. So that's the other piece that's coming through right now. Okay, don't give up now. So you must work at it. Don't give up now. Silver wants to build relationships. Okay, I fucking love this. You can't even make this shit up. This is Libra, harmony, balance, relationships. That's what it is. Silver wants to build relationships like the moon, a mirror or a poem. Let it reflect an image back to you. You can't even make this shit up. This is exactly the energy that I'm talking about of like learning by osmosis, just letting it wash over you and letting go of trying to grab any of the details. Or, you know, this is like a story that you don't need to retell right now. You don't need to worry about, it's not a homework assignment that you're going to have to like regurgitate back what I've said or whatever. Just let it wash over you and let it be what it is. With an open heart and one more moment of willingness, the seemingly cold, stark surface of silver opens into the imaginal realm. I can't even stand this. With an open heart, the center of the Taurus field, and one more moment of willingness, because that's really it, the determination, the willingness to just, for me, to sit down and bring this through anyway, the willingness to show up. I'm telling you what, I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday. In energy healing, the work that I do, you do not have to understand it. You don't have to believe in it for it to work. But the single most important aspect is a willingness to listen to what I'm saying and to be willing to be open to the possibility of that, you know, that thing being true. Like, oh, is that? And the single biggest thing that will stop your ability to heal with energy healing, with that modality, is a resistance and is an unwillingness to allow energy to move in the way that it is. The seemingly cold, dark surface of silver, that's the lower energy, the lower dense, lower chakra energy, opens into the imaginal realm. And that imaginal realm is like, you know, that's kind of the senioritis where you have to just blow it off and you'll, you know, like whatever it is that you're going to learn when you're studying and you've been, you know, cramming for a test or whatever. It's like you have to trust that your body's going to remember it when you need to know it, and let the trying to know it go. And it's the same kind of energy of allowing yourself to just sit and stare out the window and, you know, just let it all go without trying to figure anything out. All right. What is there in the imaginal realm? What is there? Your own vastness, the mysteries that beckon you on moonlight nights. Through our daily devotion to silver, we find the truest gold. This is exactly it again. It's like the willingness to not know is how you know. It's like the willingness to trust your intuition and follow it, even if you don't know where it's taking you, is the way that you get to where you're supposed to go. I have several things in the ether right now that I am praying about, working with, and going, oh, I know that's going to be happening. I know that's going to be happening. I know that's going to be happening. And so I'm putting it out into the field and imagining it and just waiting. And so when it comes, I'll know that it's the answer to that because I've been focusing on the dream of it, so to speak. Okay, to go deeper, find a piece of silver and polish it by hand. To ponder polishing as practice. This has that same, I think I talked about this I know I talked about it in my 40-day Learn to Chant challenge that's on Insight Timer, this would be a very perfect time to pick up that practice, because it's the daily routine of coming to something, even if you don't know what you're going to get or if you're going to get anything, or you might even be angry or frustrated about, like, I'm not seeing anything happen. I'm not seeing anything shift. I talk about a lot of things that could potentially come up in that practice, and some people may experience them or not, and then get frustrated if they're not experiencing the thing I'm talking about. But one of the things I talked about in there was the Karate Kid wax on, wax off energy, that you're showing up to the practice just like meditation, just like exercise, just like whatever, without maybe seeing the fruits of your labor in every now moment, in the small moments, but in the overall, when you look back, you'll be able to connect the dots. Silver is known as the metal of the moon, and the brain is known as the silver organ. I can't even handle this, because it's that brain mentalizing energy, and then it's also the physical organs. So it's the two things in tandem. Therefore, seriously, folks, I don't make this shit up. Meditation is key to unlocking this metal's secrets. Okay? Silver is mirror-like, cold and dense. How do these qualities affect the surrounding cards in the reading? How does silver reflect onto the others? Well, we only have a single card reading, so we can't do that. But the other piece that's coming to me right now that I'm getting pinged about is the very first Yoga Nidra that I did, that I put on Insight Timer, is called Becoming the Witness. And there is a reflective practice in there that is exactly in the realm of this. So if you have not done that, that's another great practice that would be good to do. Okay, oil of the month, last but not least. So friggin' important. This came, like I said, like before anything else, and I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I'm out of it, so I can't show it to you. The oil is cypress. And if you do not have cypress on its own, but you have Cellulite Magic Massage Oil, another product from Young Living, that the top note in that massage oil is cypress. So think cellulite. That's, they can't use those words and claim anything, so they have to do it like that. But so think about that, like, I never even thought about that, but cellulite is like stuck energy in the body that's stagnant. And interestingly enough, because we're in kapha season right now, the in-between energies. And so there's a lot of that moving, stuck, stagnant energy, and then it comes again in the spring. So dry brushing would be great to do right now. Any kind of lymph cleansing. I'm going to write that down for the blog. Dry brushing, bouncing on a Pilates ball. Running, because it has that bouncing quality. But anyway, cypress, the energy of, I was trying to say that I was out of it. I feel like I have, like, ADHD is like off the charts right now, because it's so hard to bring this energy down. Cypress is the oil of motion and flow. And if you think about the way water flows, it doesn't argue with whatever it comes across. It just flows in the way that it can. If there's a plant in the way, if there's a rock in the way, it just goes around it. It doesn't resist. It's that willingness, but also determination that it's going to go to the farthest reach that it can. So I'm out of the oil right now, so I can't show it to you. I've got it in my October order. But anyways, really, really important oil to work with. So I'm going to read from the Essential Emotions, because this will help you understand the full properties of it more than I can. This powerful oil creates energetic flow and emotional catharsis. Stagnant energies are brought into motion through the fluid energy of this oil. Cypress works in the heart and mind, creating flexibility. That's also kind of like the underlying of where we're going with this whole strengthening of the being, strengthening. And the reason that I chose the word strengthened being and not strengthened body or strengthened person is because we're not focusing just on the physical. We're connecting with the energy and the beingness. It's not about the doingness. Okay, Cypress teaches the soul how to let go of the past by moving with the flow of life. This oil is especially indicated for individuals who are mentally or emotionally stuck, stiff, rigid, tense, over-striving, or have perfectionist tendencies. This hard driving stems from fear and the need to control. The individual tries to force things in life rather than allowing them to unfold naturally. I mean, is this not the human condition? We have such a hard time with like relaxing and dropping in and trusting. And even as I'm trying to bring this through, I'm like, but I want this to work the way it normally does. I want to be able to sit down and write it all out and have it be organized and blah, blah, blah. It's my own perfectionist tendencies. All right, Cypress encourages individuals to cast aside their worries and let go of control so they can enjoy the thrill that comes from being alive. Oh my God, this is so amazing. I'm going to just pause and share a tiny moment. In my Yoga Nidra practice for myself lately, the Sankalpa that I've been working with is I am alive. Just so that I can feel the vibrancy and the electromagnetic energy of my being, and connect to that sense of being and the oneness that's connected to everything. So I just have to pause and say that's amazing. Okay, it reminds individuals that damnation is simply the discontinuation of growth and development, and invites them to step out of the way and allow flow, or allow life to flow freely or without compulsion. Cypress shows how to have perfect trust in the flow of life. The negative emotions, controlling, fearful, perfectionist, rigid, stuck, tense, positive properties, flexible, trusting, flowing with life, adaptable. So I've been diffusing this already and working with it because I just want help with the movement. I have been pairing it with grapefruit, which is the oil of the body. Well, actually, hang on a second. Grapefruit, well, because there's both. There's two. Patchouli is the oil of the body, but grapefruit is also the oil of the body, and I don't know why I can't remember the difference between the two right now. So I have got my book here. I'm just going to look it up for us so we can have that. Oh, grapefruit is honoring the body. That's the difference. So it's like, that's so perfect because it's like it's the emotional part of the body, honoring the body, and then patchouli is physicality. So that's more of the physical body. And so Cypress is helping us with both of those. Absolutely friggin' amazing. So maybe lean into grapefruit and or patchouli at the same time, depending on which one you need more help with. I'm going to actually try diffusing all three together and see what that feels like. But anyways, and I will tell you, when I get a massage, I take my own oils with me. And I have an experience, or had an experience, where I brought Cypress with me one time, and I am telling you what, it was a game changer. I woke up the next morning and I just cleaned the shit out of my whole kitchen. It was like I was powered from the inside out and just had all this energy and was like, yep, we're doing this right now. So that is the power of Cypress. It is so amazing. All right, I'm going to shut it down now. I love you. Thank you for, if you stuck with me, being patient with this message and this energy. I am so grateful that it's out of my body now and I can go post this and get it out into the world and be done with it. But man, it has this fiery kind of agitation energy because it's got that friction of both directions, and the physical and the emotional and the mental and all the things working in tandem, and we're coming into balance with all of it. So, all right, I love you all. Namaste, Sat Nam. Have a wonderful month. Did I write I did not write the dates down, but I'm pretty sure Collage is on the 23rd, and I think Women's Circle is on the 28th or 29th, but I think it was 29th in September. But the events are always listed on the community and events tab of my website. You can find it there. You can find it in the link in the bio, all of those places. So there are 2 live events every month, so that you know if you're not aware of that. Intuitive Collage and Women's Circle, I teach live on Zoom. And then there's 2 recorded full and new moon ceremonies, and those you can just download from the shop and listen to whenever you want, right from your phone or whatever. All right. Love you so much. Cheers to strength and being, and good luck this month with all of this balancing energy. And I will see you in November. All right. Take care.